Very good day, hi and welcome. I'm just going to lollygag a little bit before I start. A bit of a late start, but is what it is. So, yeah, the way the processing of the chickens is going to go is tomorrow I'm on my own just doing it myself, and I'm going to see how far I get, but I'm going to see if we can put like 15 birds aside. If I get 5 done tomorrow by myself, I'd be happy. Not super happy, but I'd be like, okay, well, that's not bad. If I can get them all done tomorrow, that would be even more awesome. So what I'm going to talk to my dad about tonight is it's a good idea not to feed them about 12 hours or so before you butcher them. So we're going to be putting, like I say, some birds on one side with the food and some on the other side with no food. But once you start butchering the other birds, and if it's going really well, like whatever they have to eat, let them eat that, and then the next morning, it's just when you go to clean them out, there's less stuff to clean out, you know what I mean? I've seen people, eviscerate the chickens in different ways. I'll have to find which way works best for me. But I think it's one of those things that once you get it down, you're going to be like, okay, cut. It's kind of like doing the beaver. Like the first beaver you skin is going to take you like 6 hours. The 50th beaver you'll be doing in 10-15 minutes, regardless of the size, just because you get so, I usually do a beaver in about 25 minutes for skinning, because I'm one of those guys, like, it's not about rushing it, it's about making sure there's no holes in the pelt and stuff like that. So with the chickens, the same thing, you want to gut them so that you don't get any bile and stuff like that. So, quality over quantity, but you do want to, get as efficient with the process as possible. The hardest part, I think, is going to be cutting around the butthole, right? So that you don't cut the intestine or whatever, or the sphincter or whatever, or the anus tube, whatever. Just cutting around that without cutting through it. Once you know where it is, then it's like, okay, yeah, no problem. I have lots of sharp knives, that's no problem. Got to make sure they're sterile, so what I'll probably do is boil some water and stick the knives in the boiling water for a minute or two, just to make sure that they don't, so that they're really, really, really sterile, right? Because I have, used them for trapping, with raccoons and, and beavers and stuff like that. So my beaver skinning knife, I won't be using that one, not for food. But I think we do have some good kitchen knives anyway that might do the job, and if so, I'll do that. But like the killing knife is probably going to be some of my combat knives, because they're sharp enough and they'll do the job, and they'll hold up for that process. And then if I have to cut the legs off or something like that, I'll use the bigger knives for that. I do think I have some good butchering knives. I'll have to look in my my cupboard to see what we have. Like, we have lots of knives, so it's the process is about keeping them sharp, right? Because when you cut through fur or feathers or stuff like that, it's amazing. Like, you can cut through meat for hours and hours and hours with a sharp knife, but you cut through feathers or fur, it seems to dull the knife right away. I don't know why that is, because you'd think the meat would be thicker than the fur, the feathers, but it is what it is. It will dull over time and whatever. And I like knives that you can sharpen up really quickly. So, but yeah, so that's where we're going to be at with the birds. So at first, we got the cones, or the chicken guillotines, if you want to call them, where you hang them upside down. Getting them out of one thing I do remember is how to catch them properly. So that you don't damage the bird, or the bird doesn't peck the shit. Especially the roosters. I mean, they will fight back, like if you don't grab them right. And you can't be squeamish, but you just got to kind of get close to them, get low, and then when they're close enough, you grab both of the legs at the same time, and you flip them upside down as fast as you can. And they'll flap their wings a little bit. You just hang on to them until they're done flapping, and then they kind of get, because they're upside down, they kind of get, a little bit dizzy or whatever. and they kind of pass out a bit because I guess all the blood runs to their head or whatever. And you got to be quick about it because you don't want to distress the other birds. So if you can grab it, get them out of the coop as fast as possible without freaking out all the other chickens, then the other chickens are fine. You know what I mean? The idea is to be as humane about it as possible, but also to the least amount of stress as possible. Like a lot of farmers, when they slaughter their cows, they don't like herd their cows to an area and then slaughter one after another. What they do is they just walk up to the cow in the middle of the field, and with all the other cows, completely unsuspecting, pow! They just shoot them right between the eyes. Pigs are the same way. Like you put an apple in front of a pig and you blast them between the eyes. If you do it right, you drop them with like a little .22 shell in one shot, and they're completely unsuspecting. So they're not panicked, they're not distressed, they're not tense. They're all good and relaxed, and just kind of you kind of kill them when they're stupid. Just in lazy stupid mode. That's the best. Yeah. So that's the main process, is to do that. You hang them, you bleed them, then you bleed them for a couple of minutes, and then you dunk them in the water. In the water, I keep hearing different temperatures. Some say it has to be between 142 and 149. Some say no, it's got to be 150 something. Whatever. No hotter than that. And we have the gas burner, and we have a lot of propane, so the water's going to take the longest. So I'm going to start with one bird, and then however long it takes me, then I'll do like 2 birds at a time, kind of thing. And when you're dunking them, you have to you have to dunk them. You can't just put them in and pull them out. You dunk them, you bring them up, and it seems like if they get air and you put them in again, it seems like it saturates the feathers, and the heat, what it does is it loosens up the feather pores, and then that's what makes it easy to pluck. So you pull like that. If the feathers come out easy, you pull them up out of the hot water. If the feathers come out easy, then go to the plucker and pluck the crap out of them. And then if you don't get the water temperature right, then you're stuck with a whole bunch of little stuff, and you got to pull that out by hand, and that's what takes your time, right? So my goal is, if like I say, if I can do 15 minutes a bird, that would be ideal. If I can do less than 15 minutes a bird, that'd be phenomenal. You know what I mean? But like, it's one of those things, once you get set up, like after probably my 3rd or 4th bird, like my first bird's probably going to take me the longest, and then my 5th bird, I'm like just flying through them, and if I could get it all in one video, I'll have to censor one part of the video, but the actual slicing, to me, it's like, it's not an issue, but again, you know how YouTube is. Last thing, I have no faith in YouTube, as a company that does right by its content creators, but it is something that people would learn something from, and I always like to teach people stuff if I can. And anyway, I'm going to leave it at that because I got to get my butt working, so we'll go with that, and yeah, there we go. And then, yeah, tomorrow's chicken processing day.